Hey kids, it's Papa. Are you ready to explore the Bible? All right. Well, uh, take your Bibles and turn with me back to Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. I hope you guys are actually bringing your Bibles and opening them up. And because it's important that you not just believe what Papa says and what Nana says. Nana, Grammy My, that's what they call you. Anyway, it is important that you get it directly from the Bible because the Bible is our only rule of faith and practice. And so you need to get your Bibles and open them up. And if you haven't done that, I want you to just stop it right now and go get your Bibles and open them up. And every day, bring your Bibles and have them ready. Okay, I hope you're doing that. Now, Genesis chapter 12. Here we see that there was a famine in the land. Now, Abraham had been told by God to stay in the land, but there was this famine. People were getting hungry. Crops were dying, and their herds and their flocks were dying. So they said, oh, we've got to do something about it. And rather than trust God, he decided to go down to Egypt. Now, Egypt was a place where every year the river would flood and it would fertilize and irrigate the croplands, and then the water would go out and they would plant the crops and everything would be great. And even when every place else would have famine, Egypt almost always had food. And so they said, let's go down to Egypt. They have food. And so they went down. But there was a problem. You see, Abram was married to Sarai, his wife, and she was gorgeous. Okay, absolutely beautiful. Even though she was kind of old, she was still beautiful. And he was afraid because back then, if somebody saw a beautiful woman, they'd kill her husband and take her to themselves. But so they went down to Egypt, and he was afraid that might happen. And so he decided, I'm going to talk to my wife, Sarai, and tell her to tell anyone who asks that she is my sister, and that way they won't kill me. Well, now there's a problem there. There's a whole bunch of problems. She was actually his half sister. And so by telling that story, they were actually telling a half truth. Now, let me ask you this. What is a half truth? Well, it's half truth, but it's also half of a lie. And whenever we tell something that's only half true, we're basically telling a half lie as well. Don't do that. It always gets you into trouble. Always. Do you understand what I'm saying? Always gets you into trouble. You say, well, I did it once and nobody found out. Yeah, but you remember that you did it and you don't think very highly of yourself for doing it, do you? Yeah, it hurts yourself. But also, keep in mind that in the long run, people almost always find out. So never, ever, ever tell a half truth. Always tell the whole truth. That's why, when they're swearing people in, a lot of times in court, they'll have them put their hand on a Bible and say, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And, so help me God. And then they say yes, or I do, or whatever. But it is important that you tell the whole truth, particularly to the people that God has placed in authority over you, like your parents. So you need to obey. You need to tell the whole truth. Now, anyway, so they went, and sure enough, the Pharaoh saw Sarai and said, "Ooh, wow, she's pretty. I want her." And he went and he brought her. Pharaoh brought Sarai to his house. Now, this could have been a really bad thing, but then later on, Pharaoh looked out the window and he saw Sarai and Abram, and they were behaving in a way that was not brother and sister, but rather husband and wife. And he said, "Hey, what's going on?" And so he called him in, and then Abram told the truth and why he had told the half lie, and God said, don't hurt him. Well, in any case, the thing happened that God protected Abraham. But not because Abraham had done the right thing. God protected Abraham because God loved Abraham. And so he protected him. But Pharaoh went and sent him away, but sent him away with a lot of gifts, and that was a good thing. But please understand, just because good things happen and just because God is merciful and shows us his grace doesn't mean that he's rewarding us for disbelief. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes he just treats his children well because he's a loving father. And so always remember that a half-truth is actually only a half-truth, and it's also a half-lie. God doesn't want us involved in that. So remember that. Put it into practice. And when you tell the truth, ask yourself, wait a minute, is that the whole truth? Should I tell the rest of it? And chances are you should. All right? All right. Hey, love you guys. We'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye-bye.